If you run a business on your own, you probably spend a lot more of your time managing the thoughts in your head than you actually ever spend managing your clients. You can have a really decent month with loads of work coming in and still lie there every night wide awake wondering if it's all going to fall off the edge of a cliff. You can get fantastic feedback from your clients and really happy with what you're delivering to them and still sit there fretting over whether you're actually any good at what you do. You can put yourself out there online on social media to market yourself and your business and still regret every single bit of content that you put out there and think that you sound completely and utterly stupid. Now, all those daft thoughts and worries that are going around in your head, I don't think a lot of people necessarily talk about those type of things. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go through the 5 things that I've spent loads of time worrying about as a small business owner since starting my business 4.5 years ago, because chances are you're probably worrying about the same things just the same way that I am. So the first main worry that I've wasted tons of time on is, am I good enough? Imposter syndrome. I'm sure this one you can relate to. Regardless of how many people around you are telling you you're good at what you do, clients giving you great feedback, peers in your industry are telling you you're good at what you do, it's easy to sit there in that sort of comparison trap and be comparing yourself to other people or comparing yourself to where you think you are with your abilities compared to where you think you want to be. Kind of getting stuck in that worry up in your head about, are you any good at what you do? This has shown up for me loads of times, and it still kind of does to this day, in all honesty, where I wonder, am I qualified enough? Is the people that are better than me? It's a tough one when you're questioning your own abilities. The fact is, a lot of the time, it's just your head's telling you things that are really not true. I kind of just lean more into now looking at the work that I've done, the feedback that I'm getting, and the actual reality of the feedback that I'm getting. And every single project that I send out, I get fantastic feedback. I just try and keep more focused on the actual evidence, the real evidence, so the client feedback that I get and the results that I get from my clients, rather than listening to the feelings and the thoughts in my head now. And that's one of the best ways that I've actually found of getting over that imposter syndrome. So the second big worry, what if it all dries up? What if the leads stop coming in? What if the business stops coming in? What if clients leave? It's a very real fear. It's a very real worry to have. And it's something that I think as small business owners, we have to kind of be worried about all the time, in all honesty, because if you get a little bit too complacent with that side of things, like I definitely have done in the past, where you take your foot off the gas because you may be busy one month and then you stop your marketing, and then a couple of months down the line, that's when things do actually dry up. It's a constant worry that you've got to have. It's kind of reframing it for me that I've dealt with this one. Rather than sitting there in a state of fear and panic all the time about, what if I can't pay the bills next month? What if nobody comes through the door? What if I don't fill my pipeline this month? I've found ways now of dealing with that by understanding that fear has to be there and accepting that fear and that worry has to be there, because that's the rocket up my bum to obviously carry on doing my marketing and getting my name out there. Keep everything in actually on screen now in terms of my pipeline as well. This is something that I didn't do previously. But what I do now is I track all my leads, I track all the people I'm speaking to, I track all the people that I am having calls with, so I can constantly follow up and constantly keep track of obviously exactly who's in my pipeline. I keep track of obviously figures in terms of what I've quoted those people, so I can see in terms of how valuable my pipeline is. And that for me has been a massive help, because when you can see it visually and you can see it in front of you, one, it's good for obviously reminding you, because when you're obviously speaking to a lot of different people every single month, it is easy for people to fall by the wayside and you kind of forget that you've spoken to certain people. I can see them very quickly that when my head's telling me, what if it all goes to pot, I can always look back at that pipeline then and understand that there is value in there. There is people that I've spoke to, there is people that I'm building relationships with, there is people that I'm nurturing along that pipeline. That has helped me no end, in all honesty, in getting over that worry and getting over that fear. So the third worry that I've spent loads of time on is anxiety around about posting content to social media and promoting my business and promoting myself. This is a big one that I know a lot of other small business owners face and worry about constantly. This one for me has been all about Again, all about comparing myself to other people in my industry, comparing myself to other creators on social media. Am I good enough at the content that I'm posting out? Do I look daft? Do I sound silly? Again, these are all real fears. They are ones that are always whirring around in there. For me, the way that I've kind of got over this one is through consistency, consistently practicing, consistently posting content out there, putting myself into that place where I have got the systems and the processes in place. Looking back over the time, because I've been posting consistently now for such a long time, I've got a lot of data that I can actually fall back on to look at. When things don't seem to be going right with the content, or I'm starting to get up in my head and thinking that the content's a bit rubbish or whatever, there's a bank of stuff that I can kind of go back to that's worked in the past for me, that I can kind of pick stuff from. The other thing in terms of the posting anxiety is all about the voice in your head that's kind of telling you about what if people think you're stupid, or what if people don't like what you're doing, or what if people don't like me. And again, this has been the biggest mindset shift for me in terms of this side of things, is just not giving a damn at all about what people actually think. And again, that for me has come through the consistency of posting. When you post on social media, I've had it where comments that are a little bit, they send your head a little bit loopy, and you think, oh, that wasn't necessarily very nice. I've had a fair few of those comments now that have been probably a bit negative and made me feel a certain way. And it's actually by going through those posts and getting those type of comments that I've then been able to get into that mindset shift where I've thought, do you know what? I don't care what Tony says on LinkedIn because he's just a bit of an idiot anymore. I'm just going to post the content because I enjoy posting the content, and the posting of content has got me results in the past, and that's how I've managed to get over that bit of a worry in my mind. That kind of leads me on to point number 4, which is comparing myself to other people. And again, this is all down to what do people think, and it's also tying into kind of like wanting to fit in with people. Getting over this one has been a tough one to do. I still do compare myself to other people all the time. I think it's just human nature for us to compare where we think we are to what other people out there are doing. It's especially difficult when you do spend a lot of time on social media like I do, because you are constantly bombarded with other people that are saying my life's great, my business is great, I've made $1 million this year, I'm doing £10,000 a month every single month. It is difficult to not fall into that trap. What I'm doing now to get over this worry is, again, kind of tying into that, not giving a shit about what other people think about me, and just going out on my own and understanding that, for me, the comparing myself to other people has been more comparing myself to what everybody else in the industry has done. And what I've tended to do in the past with that is I have then tried to match what every other web designer in the industry is actually doing. And all that's done for me is that's made me stand out far less than what I would have done. When you're copying everybody else, everything that you're putting out is just noise then. You just fall into the depths of the sameness of everybody else. And I've actually had a couple of comments this week on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn headline is turning oh shit websites into bloody good websites or something along those lines. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But I've had 2 people that have actually reached out in the DMs to me and said, I absolutely love your headline, Dave. And I asked why, what is it that you actually thought was good about it? And they just said because it's completely different to what everybody else is saying. And in all honesty, when you sit there worrying about comparing yourself to everybody else because you're trying to kind of be everybody else, that's actually when you're going to fall into that trap of just obscurity, because you're just going to get lost in all of the rest of the noise about what everybody else is doing. Not giving a crap about everybody else, not comparing yourself to everybody else, and just kind of accepting that the path that you're going on and being different is actually a good thing, and just obviously accepting that and following through with that it's been a game changer for me. And then the final point number 5, is fear of failure and embarrassment. Big one, this one. Fear of failure as a business owner. Just fear it all the time. But again, this kind of ties into one of the points before, where you've got to reframe it in your mind. This is how I get over it. You've got to reframe it in your mind from it being a fear and it being something that holds you back to actually leaning into that fear and understanding that having that fear there is actually a good thing. Fearing failure, for me, just gives me that rocket up my arse to keep pushing all the time, regardless of how I'm feeling in my head. it just gives me the gusto to just keep pushing forward, because I know when I don't, I know when I take my foot off the gas, I know when I fall into the comparison trap and all this, that and the other, that's when my business will actually fail. The fear of embarrassment from it, you know, you're going to fail as a business owner. I failed with loads of stuff. There's loads of stuff I've tried and failed with now in my business. That used to, you know, it used to do my head in big time. But now it's just a case of reframing it again and accepting that you're going to fail. The more you keep pushing forward to make your business better, the more times you are going to fail at things. But the more times you fail at things, the more data you've got to actually learn from. A phrase that stuck with me for quite a while now is, a failure is only a failure if you don't learn from it. So if you learn from it, it becomes a lesson then, rather than a failure. And that's how I kind of look at things failing. And if you do fail, just understand everybody else out there is failing all the time as well. So there's literally no point in being embarrassed by failure, because if you can learn from it and you can take a lesson from it and you can improve and then not fail at that thing again, then obviously you've done something right. If you've resonated with any of these worries, let me know in the comments below. I'd really appreciate it. Start a conversation. That's what I'm making this channel all about. I want to make conversation with other small business owners who are in exactly the same boat as I am, in that messy middle right now of growing and running a small service business. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel as well, and I'll see you on the next video. Ta-da!